Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and I'm at a place along Battle Road. This is the road that gets its name, Battle Road, from the 19th of April, 1775, when the British regular army marched from Boston on the way to Concord. This road that you see right behind me here is the road that they used. This is the path that they were using. Now, when they got to Lexington, if you've seen that they met up with a gentleman by the name of Parker and his group of men. There were roughly just under 80 men at Lexington. That skirmish there led to what became known as the shot heard around the world. From that, the regular army fell back in and marched on the way to Concord. The Battle of Concord, which was a much larger skirmish, but I would at this point call it a battle. It was an organized, and the colonists were actually ordered the fire and then followed orders. And this is where the regular army would start to retreat back to Boston. On that way back, once Concord had completed, the Battle of Concord had completed, Minutemen and just regular everyday people, hearing that the rumors were that Concord was burnt to the ground, which was untrue, but that several other areas were set ablaze, again mostly untrue, and the fires that did start to people's houses, the regular army were putting those fires out. They were just after the contraband guns and ammunition. So the colonists up and down this path, this battle road from Concord all the way down to Boston, swelled with people. Parker, wanting to get back into the fight from the ordeal from the early morning hours, had reconstituted his men, which were now well over 100, along this ridge here. Now, this ridge, it has been cleared a little bit. The terrain changes a lot over 250 years, but these boulders, you see these giant boulders that are kind of all over the place. These boulders were here. This is the reason why they picked this spot. Now, they picked this spot. They got here and started to assemble themselves around noon. That was roughly about the time that the British regular army was leaving Concord after the incidents that took place there. So this is where they were at. The regular army got here about 2 o'clock. Now, the column that was coming down the road, they had been being attacked over and over and over again. And so they had dispatched advanced scouts at a short distance called the vanguard. Now, coming across this area, they could see that this was a dangerous area. This is a place where they were most likely going to come across, an attack. And so the vanguard marches up this hill behind me from the road. And the saying is, you go looking for trouble, you're almost always guaranteed to find it. That's exactly what they did. They reached up here. Parker's men revealed themselves from this line behind me. Now, the reports are, from what they've been able to find, that Parker's revenge was basically a one-shot volley. This shot went out into the British vanguard, striking those who were going to be struck, and then they retreated. They advanced further down the road towards Boston to attack again. And of course, this would happen over and over and over again to the regular British column that was trying to get back to Boston. And again, by the time the British got here, they had reinforcements sent to them from Boston, including a cannon and another 1,000 or so men. And so the column had grown from its initial 700 to, over 1,000, and they were still being picked off over and over again by the Minutemen and other farmers and just sympathizers to what they believe is basic rights of English citizenry, of being able to determine how they were going to govern themselves, how they were going to conduct their affairs and their business. And with the Townshend Act, the British Parliament had taken most of those away, and that's what the British subjects here were trying to get back to, a time before the Townshend Act, where they were in self-governing of their affairs and not British Parliament. And that, more so than taxes at this point, are why these battles were fought. Again, a lot of the British companies were clearing East India Company to be able to sell in the colonies duty-free, which competed with domestic production and with the smugglers who were making the money, the elites here in the colonies that were making their money through smuggling, trying to get around the official middlemen from the companies based in London and further into mainland Europe. But right here, this short, very, very short uh, engagement is known as Parker's Revenge, and this is where Parker, basically took revenge for his men that were shot down earlier in the morning. And I just want to kind of show you around what this looks like. This is about the same time of day at this skirmish. Like I said, I try to go to the same time of day, same time of year for these things, so you can kind of get a feel of what it was like for these men. So this is Parker's Revenge. This is one of the major, I think, sites for the Battle Road, where the regular army was trying to get back to Boston, and were being constantly fired upon. So this is Parker's Revenge, and this is kind of where that story ends for that kind of group. The battles keep continuing. These skirmishes keep going all the way to Boston. By the time that the regular army would get back to Boston, it'd be sunset. They had left early in the morning. It's almost been 24 hours. They had been marching all day, and they were exhausted, tired, hungry, were low on ammunition, and in shell shock from what they had just observed from the people who they considered to be the ones that they were supposed to be protecting. The colonists, were part of the British Empire. They weren't something separate yet. So this is, for them, a lot of these soldiers had sworn oath to the king, and all British subjects were, under the protection of the king. And now we're no longer at that point. This is something different. From what happened here, you lead this Continental Congress to dispatch Washington up to Boston, and Dr. Joseph Warren is getting things ready, knowing that this is just the beginning and things are going to be getting out of hand very quickly. And you start seeing the fortification on the colonial side for more engagements, and you see the British also sending word back to London about what had happened here. And at this point, it is they have this declared war. This is before the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is just that the colonies as a whole have agreed that this is a combined effort. But the war was declared here along Battle Road, on the road to and from Concord, Massachusetts. This is Nathaniel Gavronsky. I hope you enjoyed this. Keep following along as I do more of this 250th anniversary of the American Revolution and the beginnings of the United States. Thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon.